So I need to back cut these panels because this is 1/2 inch stock and the recess on the rails and stiles is only 1/4 inch. And I got to get this to where it's flush with the back end so the whole panel will be the same level on the back. That way it'll glue flat to the frame that the bed goes on. So normally I would put feather boards everywhere so I don't have to depend on my hands, but MDF is so forgiving and easy to mill that I haven't done that. Normally I would, especially if I was using a hardwood like oak or something like that. You just can't chance it. But I get away with it here, and I've been doing that throughout all the videos, which I normally wouldn't do. But let's go ahead and turn on the dust collection and off we go. Only 5 more to go. I'm going to save you from the boredom of that. When it's all done, we'll mock it up. All right, I dry fit this with all the panels to make sure that it fits. It does. Panels could have been a little bit wider, but they'll still work. This big of a frame is a son of a gun to get square. So I clamped the long edges to two right angles and pushed and racked until I got it square, clamped, square, pushed, cajoled, tapped, squeezed, and I got it square. And then I had the one joint here already glued, ready to go. So then I just literally screwed it from underneath my table to hold it down on these 2 edges right here. So this is clamped and screwed. The rest of it is still free floating, but at least I know that I have a square end to work from. I'm going to take it apart and put it all together, and I'm going to have to get moving and get going because I'm going to glue and push and screw, and hopefully nothing sets up on me, and it's going to be quite an undertaking. So this is the part where I forgot to turn the microphone on again. But what I'm explaining is I marked everything with pencil marks so that when I took this apart, when I went to put it back together, I didn't have to measure it or anything. I just went with my marks and everything's going to be lined up. Make it a lot easier. Go to double time. Now that the microphone's turned on, this went a lot faster than what I thought it was going to go. I've checked it. It's all square. It's flat. No glue leak out anywhere. Tomorrow we're going to go ahead and sand it, but for right now we're going to let it sit overnight and let all the joints dry, and we'll sand it down and maybe mount it to the bed frame or even put some finish on it. Who knows? We'll see what happens tomorrow. So it's the next day. Took all the clamps off. We're at 103 7/8 this way. And 103 15/16, so it's a 1/16 out of square. I'll live with that. Didn't glue itself to the table, but I tried to lift this up, and because it's MDF, it's pretty flimsy. I would never make rails and stiles out of MDF unless it's just paneling. If it was a door or something that I had to hang, I would use solid material. But anyhow, we're going to sand this down. I'm going to put a V-groove chamfer or a chamfer on the edge all the way around, and then I'm going to go ahead and mount it to the bottom of the bed. So anywhere there's a profile where a cutter has taken away the smooth finish of the MDF, I don't worry about sanding it too much. It does get a little bit rough, but when I spray my vinyl sealer on here, it's going to raise the grain on all this, and then I'm going to have to sand it again. All I do is I take out any big imperfections, any lines or anything like that, because the sealer is going to require some sanding on top of this. So I forgot to video me flipping this panel, which I didn't do. I had some help from another old guy. Put the bed frame on top of it. It's supposed to have a 1/4 inch reveal all the way down on both sides. So I put my bar clamps underneath it, put a 1/4 inch piece of MDF or plywood, and then just slowly cranked it over till I had a 1/4 inch all the way down on this side, 1/4 inch down on that side. I did it in 4 different spots. And then it's flush at the top, or actually this is the foot of the bed, so it was flush there. Screwed it off. Now I'm going to mark all the areas where these supports come across, and then I'm going to pull it back off. I'm going to run glue all along in those areas, put it back down, use these clamps again, screw it all off, and we'll let it set. So I unscrewed it, lifted it up, put 1.5 blocks all the way under, slid it down 1.5 inches and over 1.5 inches. Now I can get down to where all my marks are. And I'm going to put some construction adhesive all the way around. So wherever there was a rail or a stile, I went ahead and countersunk those and drilled those because those can go a little deeper. But anywhere that there wasn't a rail, which was right here along this way, I didn't countersink them. I just let the screw suck itself up and pull that panel up tight. It seemed to work okay because my 1.25 screws would go all the way through this 1/2 inch panel. So we're good. We didn't have any shiners. Nothing came through the other side. So we're going to let this sit and dry for a little bit, and we'll go on to something else. So I had an issue. When we go to mount this onto the wall, originally this thing was only supposed to be this deep, about 3 inches. So you could reach over and screw it and bolt it and lag it into the wall to hold this in place, because this is important to hold it on the wall because the bed will pull the whole thing down. Well, I made this so high that I only have a 2-inch space on the top and I can't get over into it to secure it anyhow. So what I did is I cut this slot all the way down the back, put some cross braces on the top. I'm going to take this 2 strips, this here, I'm going to screw to the wall or lag to the wall, then I'm going to glue this and screw it to this piece. This piece has got a little bit of a bevel. I'm going to hang this cleat on the wall, and we're literally going to lift this box up just a little bit so this hangs on this cleat and holds that tight against the wall. That should work.